details. If that is the case, you may not need to have a separate document addressing a particular element of the requirements. When the standard says you shall have a document control procedure, but the standard did not say that the document control procedure must not be in your manual. So if you decide that your document control procedure will be in a manual, then fine, it is acceptable. So we have to be able to understand this. So for example, for auditors who go to audit and you show them your document control procedure in a manual and they say, no, it's a non-conformity. The standard did not say you should document it separately. The only thing that the standard says is you have a documented procedure to manage your documents, and that is it. So we have to also understand that the standard is flexible. So the organization can decide on the size of the documentation and the level of details to be documented. For example, small companies can include documented procedures in the quality manual, just like I said before. So what documents to control? Basically, every document in a system needs to be controlled, whether it is procedure, work instructions, forms, attachments, external documents, customer drawings, printings, and drawings. So one will wonder, how do you control documents of external origin that did not emanate from you, or you did not generate? Of course, we will still see the level of controls that you can apply to external documents. One of the reasons you control external documents is to be sure that the version of that external document you're using is the updated copy. For example, we have different standards, both technical standards and non-technical standards in our various fields. So how do you know when a new version of a standard has been released or published? For example, I can issue you ISO 9001-2015 standard. Do you know when the new one has been released if you don't monitor and control it? Now, for some organizations that may have a lot of body of external information, let's say, for example, you're a training organization and you receive over 500 journals of a particular subject matter, and you put it in your library. How do you know that you still have 500 journals if you don't control them? Remember, they're external documents. So you have to create some level of control to be able to monitor your documents from external origin and ensure that, one, that they are up to date, that the external documents you're using are the up-to-date versions, and of course, do not lose their integrity and are adequately protected. Document change control. Basically, we've run down through the document change process. Also take it again. Okay, so by 12, we'll be going for a lunch break, 1 hour lunch break. Then reconvene by 1. So document change control can be referred to as a control on approval of important documents based on adequacy before issuing them to relevant parties. Review and document updates as and when required. It may include pre-approvals as well. Changes and revision status of the controlled documents. Availability of relevant and most recent versions of the document at the time of use. Legibility of the document for easy identification. distribution of external documents in the organization, especially to the ones that come from subcontractors or suppliers. Unauthorized use of control documents. However, the control procedures are applicable to demonstrate as well as records. So we'll see, I don't know if this flow chart is visible to you. Can you see this flow chart very well? Can we all see this flow chart very well?
Not so clear.
Yeah.
I've not been seeing the screen again.
I managed to see it. We can blow it. We can blow the screen, can't we?
Very sorry. I think
Our view.
Okay, some people are not seeing the screen.
I'm not seeing the screen.
Do we stop and reshare? Okay, let me stop.
We can blow it up on our view screen.
Yes, you can actually enlarge it on your own screen.
Yeah, we can see it now. I can see now.
Okay, some people can still not see it. I think this has to do with network.
We can enlarge it on our side.
Yeah, this has to do with network. Maybe I will stop the sharing and pop it up again so that we can all see.
Try the password.
Okay, can we see it now for those who were not able to see it before? Can we see the screen now?
I can't see the screen yet.
We can see the screen now.
Okay, I think it's from your network, sir.
Really?
I shut it down and I just restarted it. Other people can see it. Maybe you can exit and rejoin the training. We'll wait for you. Just give you a minute to exit and rejoin.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
All right, sir. Please, let's give him a minute.
Document change control, change originator.
Someone said it was sharper before. Okay, so I'll still mute everybody so that's
Hi, Mr. Chris. How are you doing? So I want to ask you if you have finished this presentation, you need the recording of video. You need recording of video because we have some problem in our network.
sorry.
Okay, I
can't hear you very well. Someone was asking something.
Okay.
I can see the screen now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Chris.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
How are you doing?
Very fine, thank you.
Thank you very much. We need the recording of this presentation. We have some problem in network
Network.
when you recording. Yeah.
All right, no problem.
Okay, we need the recording.
Okay, no problem. You get the link to the recorded training. The training is on record.
Yeah. You need you send it to us by email or WhatsApp or what?
We'll send it by email. Don't worry,
By
after
email.
the training, you get it, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. We will
You're
send it to
welcome.
my. Thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome. Okay, so can you see the screen now?
Yes, please.
All right.
Yes, we
thank
can
you.
see, sir.
Okay, so for every document change or change control, it starts like we explained before from the originator, filling out a request form. So request form typically received and reviewed by the quality team. Then you have to consider if the change request is valid. That is asking yourself, how can this improve our system? If it impacts the system negatively, then you terminate the process. But if yes, that it can, of course, improve the system, then you send the change request to approver for further review and approval. So sometimes you find this for, can we mute?
I will cut you so small egg will come in close.
Please mute your mic.
Most of the
Some of your mics are unmuted. Please mute your mic.
Okay, I'll mute everybody. Okay, so if the change will improve the system, then you go for further review and approval. Now, sometimes you find out that for certain level of changes, you may have someone who is reviewing and at the same time approving. You have one person reviewing and approving. However, the person originating the change should not be the same person reviewing and approving at the same time. The reason is someone else should look at it critically to know how it impacts the system. Someone who has the competence for a critical review and analysis of the proposed change should be able to review and give their opinion about that. So when approved, send notification to of authorization to relevant change implementers. Remember, without this information, the change will not be implemented. So you have to notify the people or the parties that will be implementing this change. When approved, okay, this is duplicated. When approved, send notification to relevant change implementers. Make change to improve, okay, for them to make change to improve the system. When change is implemented, send feedback to the originator. Now, I'm not just sending feedback to the originator, you have to also look at how the change has fared. Did it really impact the organization or the process? Now, how do we improve on this? Remember that continual improvement is very, very key. So, and that most standards we are using as of today functions on the principle of PDCA. So this change process should also follow the PDCA cycle. The PDCA means plan, do, check, and act. So you plan what to change, you make plans about what you want to change. So during the time you're reviewing the information, it is planning that you're doing. So when you're reviewing and approving a change, you are planning. That is starting from the moment you originate it, you're planning till the point of approval and the point of sending notification. They all fall under plan. But when the change is now implemented, it means you're doing the change. At the cost of implementing the change, you're checking to be sure that this change implementation is still going as planned and that in no way it's not affecting the integrity of the system negatively in any way. Now, whatever the outcome is during your check, you have to act. Whether the outcome is positive or negative, you have to take action. If the implication or the impact it has on the system is negative somewhat, that is, if there's a non-conformity arising from the implementation, then you have to do a corrective action and improve. However, you can still take actions when it is positive. That is, when everything goes as planned, you can still take action. Now, the action you take is to find an area where you can improve on. Maybe an area where you struggled a little bit to implement, then you can improve there. So whichever way it goes, positive or negative, you have to take action. So that is the principle of Plan, Do, Check, Act. Examples of document control tools. So you have the master lists. This is an example of a master list. Okay, very sorry. My network was a little bit shaky. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, let's go on.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, this is where we stopped. So we'll continue in the next 2 minutes. We'll be going for lunch break. Okay, so this is a sample of document master lists. So master lists can be in different formats, but the most important thing is that it represents to you what you need to control in your document. So document description, sorry. Okay, I'm back. We are having serious network challenges. Okay, let's quickly go back to the slide again. Can we see the master list? Hello? We have to, at the same time, make sure we don't have too little. So avoid having too little documents. You have to have sufficient documents to establish your management system, and as well, sufficient documents to prove that the management system have been implemented. There are two things. One is the documents required to establish the management system, and the documents required to, that is records, to establish confidence that the management system have been effectively implemented. So what we are looking for is sufficiency. Okay. Remember that the goal of every documentation or every management system entirely is for consistency for your processes. Bear in mind that if two trained employees were to perform this task, would they do it the same way? That is, if you have two different people performing a particular task, Do you think they will do it the same way? So this points to the fact that you need consistency in your documentation. So when you ask this question and the answer you get is maybe or maybe not, then it means that you need to take an action. Make your documents consistent in such a way that anybody who is competent to manage that document or implement the document can do so without stress. So we'll talk again about document identification, things to note or things to take care of during documents identification. So for document identification, your documents have to have title, document title. But besides that, when you create a document newly, it has to have the company name and possibly logo. Remember, this is not a requirement. This is just the best practice. You will not see anywhere in the standard where the standard tells you all these details. However, the standard only made mention of identification. But now the best practice is what we are talking about now. It has to have company name and company logo. Then document title, document ID. The document ID is the reference number. If you look at this master list we have here, you see where we put ref. So this ref is where you have your reference number, document reference number. Then current revision, you see that we have revision number here. Then we have dates. Though here we don't have copy number. So copy numbers apply to each distribution. We'll get to that later. However, the basic things your documents have to have will be the company name and logo, then company title, document title, document ID, current revision, and date. Now, when you're identifying your documents with regards to your reference number, there are ways you can formulate your reference number. Sometimes in an organization may decide to have a central numbering system. That is system numbering system. In this case, their numbering system goes in a chronological way. For example, you can create something like the name, that is abbreviation of the name of the organization. Let me type it in the chat room. Name of organization, abbreviated. Let's say the name of the organization is ABC Limited. So we have ABC / or dash. You can have, like, we're talking about having a central numbering system. So you can have something like management system document MSD /001. Now, when they have this central numbering system, it means that when they have another document to create, that document will bear 002, still bearing ABC /MSD, then 002. I hope this is clear. There's another way to also number your documents. You can number process by process or unit by unit. For example, you can say ABC /HSC /001. So what this tells us is that when I come to this company ABC, then that the process in question that this document is originated from is HSC department. So it means that for quality department, you have something like this, ABC/QA, maybe you call it quality assurance department /001. You have it like this. If you can check your charts, you see what I'm typing. Then you can also have something like ABC/ACC/001. Who can tell me what department we can attribute this to? At a glance.
Department.
Thank you, accounts. So you see that by mere looking at the numbering system, it tells you that this is a process numbering system. But if you look at the first one we typed, it tells you that this is a central numbering system. Now, you can also have another numbering system that is tied to documents. However, this is most times cumbersome. Personally, I prefer that you number based on the process. However, you can have a very large organization and decide to number differently. We'll still get to numbering and filing system later, but this is for clarity. So for example, let's use the HSC department again. So you have ABC/HSC/ let's say it is facility inspection reports that you have created. That is the form for facility inspection reports you have created. So you can use abbreviation of the form to be facility inspection report, that is FIR/001. So wherever you see ABC/HSC/FIR, that tells you that, okay, this document is coming from HSC and it is facility inspection report number 001. So if you have another report tomorrow that is facility inspection report, oh sorry, if you have another appending or sub report of facility, you may have 002. I don't know if this is clear, but like I said earlier, most times numbering based on documents can give a whole lot of headache because it may be conflicting or confusing at times. So that is about naming convention. So let's say, for example, okay, I think this last one makes more meaning to it. Okay, talking about document review again. Oh, sorry, a lot of people are waiting to join. So remember, we said earlier that all documents must be reviewed and approved prior to use. So let's get back to this document master lists. Before we said where we were trying to see the examples of some document control tools. So that is what gave rise to we looking at this master list. Master list is very, very important in document control because master list is what you use to assign numbers, especially when you are operating a traditional means of document numbering system. Now, you look at document description, reference number, revision number, revision timeline, date of initial revision, and next date. This helps you to track your revision. And of course, if you look at this, the last row, you see custodians or users of these documents. Now, this helps you track, for example, if you're using this type of document master list, it helps you to track your revision timeline appropriately. In some organization, they may say that for every change made in the document, it will amount to a revision. When that is the case, this revision timeline may not be very relevant to such an organization. However, you may have an organization who has set maybe 2 years or 5 years to review their document, whether there's any immediate change or not. So in that case, use this revision timeline, date of revision and next due date to track it, so that once it is that 2 years or 5 years, as the case may be, you know your document is due for review. However, you can have a combination of both one change making up a revision for documents like policy. Remember that policies are reviewed annually. So in this case, when you're managing a document like policy, it means every year that you review the policy, the revision status will change to be current. Then what about forms? Your forms may or may not be subject to this practice. Best practice anyway is that once a form changes its format, it is moved to the next revision. However, I've seen organizations, whether this is right or not, that will track their changes on forms until such a time that it's equal to their revision timeline before they revise. But best practice is that once a form changes a format or its format, it should be updated to the next revision. So the next one is managing your external document. This is also a master list, but a external document master list, where you have the description of the documents. If you look, you will see how the external documents are coded here. Okay. Sometimes some people will ask, how do you number external documents since they are not yours? It is very simple. You can assign a unique code to it. For example, this helps you know the number of external documents you have, like we stated earlier. If you have like a journal, 10 pieces, and so on and so forth, this helps you also monitor the numbers that they are. And this document also helps you check their version and edition. So you receive any external document, you assign the name, for example, ext/doc, meaning external document 001. Then the revision or the version or edition can be 2020 edition, the location where the external document is, its current date, that is date of publication, and possibly next revision date or update of that particular document. In this case, we'll look at standards. Management system standards often have 5 years timeline for revision. this may happen or may not happen. For example, 9001 2015 was supposed to be revised in 2020. Okay, to have it would have given rise to ISO 9001 2021. A meeting was held, and the document, that is 9001 2015, was looked at and saw that it's still in line with the business moods and trends in this our time. So there was no need for any updates. That is why you still have it as ISO 9001 2015. However, if there were changes in the business environment, it would have been changed. So this current date and next possible revision date helps you go back every now and then to check the standards you're using to be sure that they are still the updated or the latest version of the standard. Then you can put the source of the external document. Is it client? You can name the client, or is it online downloaded journals and so on and so forth. So you have to know all these things. Then let's look at this other one. Okay, somebody is. Okay, someone asked, please, what documents can be classified as external documents? Okay, the standard is an external document. Drawings issued from client is an external document. Journals that did not originate from you is an external document. So basically, any document that you did not generate is an external document. Standards, specifications, codes, journals, textbooks, and so on and so forth can be classified as external documents as far as they did not you did not generate them. Mr. Kevin, I hope I have answered your question. Hello, Mr. Kevin. Hello, Mr. Kevin.
Yes, thank you. I understood that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So we are looking at document distribution record now. Okay, so document distribution record, this is a simplified one. There are other different templates you can use, or you can just design as it suits you. However, the essence of document distribution record is to track what documents have been issued to who. For example, the standard expects that your documents are available at point of use. So how do we know, let's say during audit, that these documents are available at their point of use? One of the ways to show compliance to this is by we seeing your document distribution register or record, evidence that the documents have been distributed. Now, this also helps you to know who has what version of the document or what revision of the document. Let's say you issued your quality manual out to your team, and the revision number of the one issued Okay, I'm back now. I've reconnected. Once again, sorry for that break. The network keeps taking us out. So I'll share the screen again so that we'll see where we are. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, we can hear.
All right, thank you. Okay, so this is for folder indexing. Remember, for example, if you are still using the traditional means of storage of your documents, that is printed records, of course, you put them in files and folders. So you can title or control your folders. Okay, so you have folder number, especially when you're storing them in a cabinet, folder number, the title of the folder. Let's say, for example, internal audit records. Okay, the folder is used to store internal audit records. Then we want to know if this folder is an active folder or closed folder, in the sense that, remember we talked about retaining obsolete documents. Now, let's say that for over a period of time, you accumulated some records in a particular folder, and the folder is filled up, and you want to remove them from point of use or close them out. You can put a status of that folder to be closed. So at a glance, we know that the records there are obsolete records, however, retained for maybe information. Of course, you may go to the extent of still stamping them, that is the folder, as obsolete. Then when the folder is reading open, it means that this is the active folder that is currently in use. Of course, there are other ways you can title the status. Okay, it can be open, it can be active, it can be inactive when it's closed, and so on and so forth. So date the folder was opened and date it was closed. If for those closed ones, then process owner, designation, and name. So you see that document control also helps you manage not just the document, but the folders that the documents are contained in. Okay, let's move to the next. Okay, I think there are some messages here. Okay, let's move to the next one. Document change request. We talked about raising a document change request. So if you look at this is just a template where a change request can be initiated. Okay, so you have the change and amendment number. So the change, you assign the change number to it. It helps you track the changes. There are other ways to track changes as well, particularly in documents of the documents you retain in soft copies. In Microsoft Word, you can go to the section for change tracking. If you're using the Microsoft Word, it has function for change tracking that in such a way that any change made on a document can easily be tracked. So back to this form, this is used to control changes. So the change initiator will have to fill up this initial information. You see the initial information that was there, then explaining the changes to be made in the next box and the reason for this change. So this will be sent to the review team that will look at these reasons and decide whether it's impactful positively to the organization. If it's impactful, remember our flow charts and how it goes. So the next one is document amendment log. Like I always say, there are different formats to this, but the most important thing is to make it simplified as much as possible. So change, you have the serial number of the change, then page where the change is made in the document, if it has more than 1 pages, then the particular item in the document that was changed, then you describe it fully. The changes that was made has to be described in details. Then who is making this change? Who is implementing this change? And the person signs out. So documents can be in form of soft or hard copy. Gone are the days where audits, you must present hard copy. In audit these days, soft copy or hard copy are all acceptable. So any of them that you retain in soft copy is still acceptable to us or to anybody. So you have common problems with document controls. So these are a few things that cause problems in controlling your documents. When employees writing the documents do not understand the difference between a procedure and, for example, a work instruction, sometimes you see that during audit, you ask someone to provide this. We see mostly in laboratories. You ask someone to provide a procedure, and what the person presents is a work instruction. Work instruction is just a direct to the point itemization of activities. Do this, put this, just direct to the point. It does not describe anything. But when you have a procedure, it describes in details the processes to be employed and other information, not just the processes, other relevant information are added to procedures as against work instruction. So you also have terminology has not been defined. So in some documents, you have certain terminologies, but no definition. So remember, the aim of having a document is for understanding and clarity. There are some terminologies when used will not be easily understood. So you will need to define those terminologies in your documents. Revisions take too long. Documents are not kept current. So sometimes you come to an organization during audit and they say, oh, okay, this document is undergoing revision. You check when this revision starts. Probably it's more than a month or 2 months or even 6 months when they started revision, and they're still saying that the document is undergoing revision. So when revision takes unnecessarily too long to be implemented, so it means that obsolete versions of the document will still be in existence or will still be in use. So we have to avoid unnecessary bottlenecks when it comes to document review. Another problem is when there is no process for tracking changes. Remember that it is very important to have or to establish audit trail. So when we cannot find the changes that gave rise to revision 1 or revision 2 of a document, you see a document bearing revision 2, for example, and you ask the process owner, okay, can we see the information or evidence of the previous revision? And it's nowhere to be found. So it creates, it paints a wrong picture of the document control system of that organization. Another one is inconsistent use of other documents such as forms, attachments, drawings, document of external origin. For every document, its use has to be consistent. For example, okay, let me give you a typical example of such instance. Let's say you have a form to manage non-conformities of your external providers, that is your suppliers or your vendors. And you have a different form to also manage your own internal non-conformities. You may title it as corrective action request form for supplier, corrective action request form for internal. Okay, let's put it this way: internal corrective action request form versus supplier corrective action request form. These are two different documents. Now, for example, if you find an internal non-conformity corrective action request in the one meant for the supplier, this is inconsistent. Okay, or today you use revision 1 of that particular document, and yesterday you use revision 2. You see, you're already having confusions. So all our documents have to be consistent. Every document used for its purpose. The next one, the next problem is approval. When you have a document that doesn't have an approval, or let's say the person who prepared the document has signed, the person who reviewed the document has signed, but the person authorizing the use of the document has not signed, and you find it in circulation. Okay, so this is not okay. Then another major challenge is when distribution is not structured. So it means no record of distribution, documents are being sent out without proper care to its control. And again is keeping or distributing current versions of your document. Again, when you have too many documents in distribution, the system cannot be maintained. Remember, we say just develop only documents that are relevant to your operations. So don't have too many documents. Sometimes you even come to a system and you find, let's say, 2 different procedures. Let's say one procedure, one titled procedure, or procedure with the same title, but talking about different things. Same title, different things, or same content, different titles. So this is not okay. And don't write, like we said earlier, don't write documents that people are not able to implement. When you have too many, it will be hard to implement. Lack of control of documents of external origin is another problem. So we've explained this earlier. We have to put measures in place to make sure we control documents of external origins. Avoid all these problems by planning ahead. So documentation is not something that is done accidentally or that is done without due care to the document control procedure. So you have to plan your documentation ahead of time, know what document is needed, how to generate them, how to store them, how to control them basically. So it's an activity that must be planned well. So someone may ask, what is the difference between controlled and uncontrolled copy of documents? You will see sometimes a document carrying master list. You also see a document carrying controlled copy. You can also see a document carrying uncontrolled copy. So controlled documents are documents that are subject to formal review, formal approval. Their distribution is controlled modification, controlled storage, and access. Or in other words, a controlled document is a document that goes through document control process. Now, when you have a document that you cannot review, for example, you have issued to your client a copy of your procedure. That particular copy you issued to your client cannot edit it again after issuance, meaning you cannot go back to the client and edit that particular copy. So that copy is uncontrolled because it is not subject to review, approval, or any control. An uncontrolled document is a document that is accurate, of course, at the time it is printed, but it's not reviewed or updated. So documents that you have issued out to interested parties, that is external interested parties, are not subject to updates. Uncontrolled copies originate from controlled copies. So they are not two different, they don't have two different contents, but they are not subject to change. Controlled copies are considered to be the authorized and updated for use, please. That is not for us, it is for use. Now, one of the controls you need on your controlled and uncontrolled document is the stamping. You can, for example, stamp the one you are sending out to your client as uncontrolled copy, so that at a glance, it tells them that, okay, this copy I have, at this point in time that I'm receiving it, is accurate for use. However, there's a copy elsewhere that may be subject to updates. Hence, from time to time, they may require you to send them updated version of that one they have when a review must have taken place, or when they suspect that a review may have taken place. Again, you can also reach out to issue an updated version, but remember that it is only the controlled copy that is subject to change or update. Please, at this point, do you have any question? Any question at all? Okay, no question. Things to consider when creating a document. We were supposed to end by 3, but our activities for today is almost over. So some people are still entering, so we're almost done. So our slides for today are almost over. So once we finish the ones for today, The rest will continue tomorrow. Or once it's 2 o'clock, by that time, we should have completed the slides for the day. Okay, somebody raised his hands. Eche, please, can you go ahead?
Okay, good afternoon, Sir Chris. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Okay, I just want to ask a question. Based on what we did initially. Okay. Sorry, hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I'm just, I want to know from what we have done so far.
Okay, there's echo. There's echo on the background. It means that maybe someone with you is logged in, so maybe the person can help you mute so that we can hear you clearly. Someone asked, is it okay for a procedure to have up to 10 forms? Well, there's no rule to this, but we have to be sure that the forms are relevant and they serve its purpose. So it depends on the kind of procedure and what you are doing with them, or what activities you have detailed in that procedure. So there's no, it's not cast in stone. However, from experience, 10 may be a little bit on the high side, but again, it depends on the activities in that particular procedure. And it depends on how elaborate or how big those activities are. Okay, so this question came from Edirin Okolie. Mr. Eche, if you can hear us, please go on with your question.
Okay, I can hear now.
All right, thank you.
I was trying to sort things out here.
Okay.
Okay. So earlier before we go on break, you made mention of EDMS, and I've read places where they integrate EDMS with ERP. I think that's resource planning, as in for business. Then they talk about integrating, as in the EDMS elaborates about document control in this system. So I'm now asking, all these things that we are doing, they are more like manual, or I would say what we apply in hard copy. Is there a way to control it soft, like soft entirely, both the forms, the records, everything you just mentioned here? Are there things like that?